Chuck Schumer was not one of the Democrats who actually voted to advance the legislation to continue or to reopen the government, but he is still ostensibly, at least in title, the leader of the Democrats. And this is happening on his watch. He needs to corral these people. And so a lot of people are not happy with Chuck Schumer. Although, to be fair, who was before? He's terrible. This is just the most recent time of him being terrible as a leader. And so he needs to be careful how he messages about this, try to get people back on his side. So this is what he says about the deal. Make no mistake about it, the American people know who is inflicting this healthcare trauma: Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Americans will remember Republican intransigence every time they make a sky-high payment on health insurance. Yeah. I hope that they do that. If they do, it's gonna be because of far better messengers, I would say, than Chuck Schumer. And again, so you're chastising Trump, which I get it. Trump is a bad guy, but what about those 8 Democrats? Do you have anything for them? Will there be any consequences for them? I mean, clearly you didn't make clear to them that if they did this, there would be consequences. Doing the sort of move that might have stopped them from doing this in the first place. But at least after the fact, can you imply that they will suffer some sort of consequences? I'm not seeing anything. And so it falls to other Democrats, both in the Senate and in the House, to try to show that they actually care about the substance of this. Here is Bernie Sanders.
Tonight, 8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. What it does, first of all, is it raises healthcare premiums for over 20 million Americans by doubling, and in some cases tripling or quadrupling. People can't afford that when we are already paying the highest prices in the world for healthcare. Number 2, it paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Studies show that will mean that some 50,000 Americans will die every year unnecessarily. And all of that was done to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. Got a lot of work to do, but to be honest with you, tonight was not a good night.
Nope, and I think for a lot of people, there's gonna be a lot of bad nights because that jacking up their health insurance prices, that's not just gonna go away. Even if it does, it's gonna take months, and I'm not optimistic that that's actually gonna happen. He's not exactly exuding a lot of confidence that that's gonna happen either, that the vote will happen, or that if the vote does happen, it'll actually get passed. And even if it does, that it will in the House as well. And some Democrats in the House also struck back against this. Ro Khanna saying, Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for? And I don't know. Again, remember, he surrendered the first time earlier this year, and now he just stands by as the surrender happens again. Why do you want to be the leader, Chuck Schumer? You don't, I mean, like, I guess you want to be since you're not stepping down, but you're not exactly like making a compelling case for why it has to be you when there are so many other Democrats. And I think a lot of people would feel a lot more confident if you just stepped aside and let Bernie Sanders take over. At least that would be something. AOC tweeted, the average monthly SNAP benefit is $177 a person. The average ACA benefit is up to $550 a person per month. People want us to hold the line for a reason. This is not a matter of appealing to a base. It's about people's lives. Working people want leaders whose words mean something. We'll return to SNAP in a little bit, by the way. And even Governor Gavin Newsom, who obviously takes every opportunity to attack Donald Trump, he also weighed in and called this deal a surrender, saying it's pathetic, don't bend the knee. Now look, if it was him that was in charge of Senate Democrats, I don't know what he would have done. Maybe in that situation, he would have done exactly what Chuck Schumer did, but he's in a position at least to criticize it, which is something. And here is some of the Democrats on the other side, those who actually voted to advance this legislation. Take a look at this.
What do you say to your colleagues who say this isn't a fight, this is a capitulation? You're putting together, you're agreeing to a vote on a bill that it almost certainly will not become law, and you're allowing that to happen.
There was no vote that we were going to get on the Affordable Care Act, premium tax credits. We have a guaranteed vote by a guaranteed date on a bill that we will write.
There's no guarantee this will become law.
There was never a guarantee that it would become law.
If the Republicans can't come to the table and do something reasonable on this and make sure that people can afford their health care and that the whole private commercial market also doesn't see skyrocketing increases, then shame on them.
Standing up to Donald Trump didn't work. It actually gave him more power.
Oh, shame on them, JR. Shame on them. Well, then they'll clearly change their behavior. I mean, if there's shame in a press conference, then I guess we truly have one. Maybe it's not a surrender. What do you think?
It's amazing. Shame on them. Hey, that'll work. Hey, that's comforting. Hey, so when your healthcare skyrocket, then shame. The Republicans will feel shame, except for the fact that when we were pointing out how those prices would skyrocket, that they didn't feel any shame. Then isn't it weird how people with no shame won't feel any when you say shame on them? They should be shamed. As a matter of fact, and when Donald Trump somehow increased his power, Angus King said that Donald Trump increased his power after he just got his ass kicked last week in those elections across the country after people just booed his ass at the Commander Stadium just on Sunday. But his power is increasing. It looks like you gave him that power that he's increasing. Nothing to do with the fact that this guy who was flailing, screaming over on Truth Social and over on Twitter, everywhere that he could, because he was getting his ass kicked, suddenly had more power. Man, we're seeing through all the false realities of MAGA. I don't think these establishment Democrats really think people are gonna start believing their propaganda too, are they?
Yeah, Donald Trump's approval rating was dropping even faster. He's at the worst point that he's been at. And again, as you pointed out, the election results, but Angus King, he couldn't kill the ACA tax subsidies by himself. He needed you to give that to him, okay? He was floundering, he was flailing. Now he's not. Now he can just go back to, I don't know, destroying the East Wing of the White House or whatever, which by the way, he said he wasn't going to do, just as a reminder of what his promises are worth. So just bear that in mind. Before we transition to SNAP, which is one of the most important parts of this, I've been saying that there are some potential good consequences coming of this. I've got a variety of those. One is an opportunity, because it does have to go back to the House, right? And everybody's like, that's a foregone conclusion that it's gonna pass. But is it? Because after all, don't we have Marjorie Greene on our side now? She's not gonna support it, right? And she's been saying we can't let those health insurance prices go up. All she needs to do is get like 3 other Republicans on her side, and she can buck her party, which is her brand now, and stick a thumb in Trump's eye if he's gonna so callously raise people's health insurance costs. I mean, because if she doesn't do that, or at least try to do that, then one might think that this was just a branding exercise, that this was just words with no substance. And obviously that's not what's going on, Representative Greene. So clearly you're gonna go on the warpath now to make sure that this thing dies in the House. We will see. And also in the House, bear in mind, the excuse for why for nearly 2 months Aidalita Grijalva couldn't be sworn in was that the government was shut down. So I guess at the very least, right, we'll get that and we can get a vote on the Epstein files. Something.